draw me as much as strategy and creative thinking and whatnot. Yeah, I can solve those problems, but I've done that. I don't want to do that anymore. I
That's right.
prefer to be doing the kind of work I am now, which is higher level in my opinion in a lot of ways.
No, that's great. That's great. So I definitely am hearing themes of, you went, you followed your interests, things you wanted to work in. And also before you made that next step, you already had your eye on what was next. So
Mm.
each time you transition, you had a very clear view of what you wanted to do and how that aligned with you and your interests. So I think that's critical. So what advice would you say to someone that is considering transitioning in their careers? If you had to leave two or three top bits of advice, what would they be?
Um, I mean, I guess probably start thinking about really what do you really like doing, not what could you do. Um, what are you really good at and you like doing, not what are you capable of doing or what could you do to help out, that kind of thing. You know, too many people get into trouble by saying yes when they shouldn't, and I'm guilty of that. But thinking about the kind of work you want to be doing, like with what kind of people, doing what does the work really entail? Do I want to be, in a restaurant dealing with my employees and my guests and my physical plant and all this kind of stuff, or do I want to be kind of in an office or going to out to meet clients and figure out ways to solve their problems and listen to what their problems are and say, oh wait, here's what I suggest, here's what I see happening, here's what you keep saying, you know, let's work on that. And obviously I still do restaurant consulting, and that'll probably never stop because it's something I know a lot about. But
Mhm.
the lessons of restaurants apply to other industries. You still have labor issues, you still have sales issues, you still have cost issues.
That's
You
right.
know, there's a lot of overlap, and they make great examples, in my opinion.
No,
But
that's great.
yeah, it's about what do you want to be doing, and then I think it's probably a good idea to talk to people who do it and get their insights on that.
No, that's great. That's great. And there's one other thing that I would say, well, I would ask you, with the guidance you just gave us, for people that are considering transitions, what was maybe the key thing that helped you be most successful, maybe in your last pivot and where you are today in your career?
Hmm. Um, in the first pivot, going from chef restaurant owner guy to teaching, um, it helped to have kind of the industry knowledge, and all of that.
Yes.
Um, it definitely helped I think in that situation it helped to have managed a lot of people,
Good.
um, which interestingly translated to classroom management really well. The security guards loved me because I never called them.
Good.
You know, um, so there's some of that. I think having great stories as a way of explaining things to people has probably helped. Um, I think if you were to ask the teachers I worked with, they would have said I was, you know, ask forgiveness, not permission sort of guy, and I managed to get things done. The school secretary was a wall to all other teachers, but I was nice to her. So I kind of learned that in business. It helps, and I got anything I wanted. So, um, you know, those sort of things continue with you. When I came here to Richmond too, contractors couldn't get permits. I went to City Hall in half an hour. I had permits, and it wasn't hard. I was nice to people and I told them what they wanted to hear, and I acted like a total moron, and they felt helpful, and I got what I needed. And I think learning to work with all different types of people, which you do in the restaurant industry, can serve you moving forward because ultimately those relationships are what all business is based on.
Perfect. That's perfect. And I thought that was very insightful, how you leverage your previous experience and what worked there. And then at the heart of it all is about relationships. You're reminding us of that. So I want to leave the last two questions really for you, in particular with your current job. Is there any key advice you would like to share with business owners that might be considering selling their businesses?
Well, yes. Well, the first one obviously is call a broker.
Mhm.
Talk to them about what that process looks like, how long it takes, because it might take a year. Um, Assuming you have all your ducks in a row,
That's right.
it's a slow runway. Um, and start to think about why you want to sell, who you might sell to. Don't tell anyone you're thinking of selling, but I mean, your accountant, yes; your lawyer, yes; your spouse, yes. But call a broker. It doesn't cost anything to talk to us, and we'll kind of tell you what that looks like. Um, so I also would say that if you don't have a succession plan, and I'm talking right now to the like 90% of you who don't,
Yes.
um, then you need to develop one, and that's going to be a group conversation, probably with an accountant or financial advisor or both, and a lawyer to look at kind of your personal position, your business's set up, and how you want to, what's next. All right, are you going to die in the business, and will that work out well for your family? Do you have anything else you want to do in life? What is your business even sellable?
That's
Right.
right. That's right.
And if it's not, could it be made sellable? Right. What would that have to look like? And from a consultant standpoint, I'd say, if it's running and generating income, and you want it to be worth more, because most people leave like 40% of the value on the table if
Mhm.
they actually sell it all, then let a business consultant like us work with you to put meat on the bone and organize it so that it would appeal to a buyer.
That's
I would
excellent.
also say that if your business is decent right now, now is a great time to sell if you look at it, because there's a ton of money in the market. Interest rates are low. There's not a lot of businesses out there for sale, and capital gains are low. And you don't know, but many of those things may change. I suspect that all those boomers who are about to retire will probably start selling their millions of businesses sometime. And I mean, they've just started really, but
That's good.
that translates to a higher supply, which means a lower multiple. You can sell it for the business for less money. If
That's
capital gains
good.
taxes go up, you can sell it for more, but you'll keep less. If
That's
interest
good.
rates go up, the number of people who can buy it or the price you can charge goes down. You know,
That's good. That's good.
so if you're operating now, the really the best time to sell your business, if you have it, is when you're booming, when you're growing like a weed, when you're operating efficiently, when you're that's appealing to a
That's
buyer.
absolutely.
If you
Absolutely.
want to sell because you're sick and tired of it and you're not showing up to work anymore and your business is tanking, well, I mean, nobody wants that.
No, no.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, thank you, first of all your great insight of sharing your experiences and your career journey and learnings. I want to ask you, is there any final thoughts you like to share with us, about your career, careers in general that we haven't covered?
I mean, it would the marketing side of me says it kind of depends on who I'm talking to. Um, but yeah, I don't think most people think about it much. They kind of fall into things and kind of ride wherever it takes them. And I don't know a lot of people who pivot as many times or as drastically as I have. But it kind of keeps life interesting, and it kind of keeps your brain alive because you're
That's right.
having to learn new things all the time. And I mean, if I had to address areas that I think I need to work on, it's probably, you know, adoption of new technology,
Okay.
um, and organizational methods,
Get it.
right?
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, once again, I want to thank you, Dan, for joining us here in
Sure,
Growing Perspectives. I would love to stay connected with you.
sure.
And once again, thank you
I
for
would be.
sharing your journey.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.